Hello everyone and welcome back to another video in my series Coasters Of. If you didn't check out the first video on Kennywood, definitely take a look at that. I'll put the link in the description. But today we are taking a trip to Knoebels Amusement Resort. This park opened in 1926 and is located in Elysburg, Pennsylvania. Currently home to 6 pretty unique coasters, so I will be giving my rankings, reviews, and some facts about those coasters, so let's get into it. Starting at the bottom of our list is Black Diamond. So this is technically considered a roller coaster by Roller Coaster Database and the park. Um, I would really consider it a dark ride. I feel like a lot of people do. We're going to jump right into the POV because the one benefit of this ride is that it is a long ride, so probably about a good 3 minutes. It is completely enclosed indoors. You'll climb up about 35 feet here, and you just kind of meander around this track. There are a few drops, but nothing intense. They actually have brakes going down the drop, so you might get a little bit of speed. The whole ride, I'm gonna call it a ride, is themed to the haunted coal mines of Pennsylvania. So pretty interesting theme, somewhere I feel like you couldn't get many other places. And I'm gonna say, it was a good ride to get out of the sun, but I probably will never go on it again. Just it was more just interesting. So coming up here is one of those drops. You just hit brakes going down the whole drop and really get a little bit of speed, but it's not meant really to be a roller coaster. It's more of a dark ride. I think the only reason it's considered a roller coaster is because it uses gravity. It's not powered like a trackless dark ride or anything like that. But it's a good ride. Definitely get on it if you haven't been on it, but not something that you really want to re-ride. This coaster actually has a pretty interesting history. First opened at a park in Wildwood, New Jersey called Dinosaur Beach as the Golden Nugget back in 1960. I think it had sort of like a pirates theme. The park eventually closed, and Knoebels, quite a few years later, purchased this, mainly just reusing the track and ride system, but completely built a new show building and rethemed everything to this like haunted coal mine theme. So, pretty interesting ride here, definitely a unique ride, quite different. I wouldn't say it's scary, and it's very tame. Good family attraction, something to get out of the heat, but nothing really to write home about. Was originally made by Philadelphia Toboggan Company, but the park, did all the in-house theming and everything. So that brings us to our next coaster, coming in at number 5, and that is Cosmos Curves. So this is the park's kiddie coaster. I would consider it more of a family coaster, honestly. Definitely more intense than your average kiddie coaster. It does have a max height of 20 feet. It was manufactured by Ian F. Myler, opening in 2009. So you do get 3 laps on here, so it is a nice long ride. So let's hop into the POV here. So nothing, again, it is still just a kiddie coaster, but definitely more intense. Towards the back, you can actually get some airtime. So coming around this drop, nice little pop of airtime if you're in the back there. Even in the front, you can get a little bit. But, just a twisty, curvy, hilly layout here. Nothing too special, but again, you do get to go through 3 times, which is, worth the money. This is a pay-per-ride park. It's actually the world's largest free admission park, so you do just pay for the rides, or you can get a wristband for this park. But I rank this coaster even higher than the Black Diamond. Adults are allowed on, so definitely go and get that credit. And yeah, definitely worth a ride. Coming in at number 4 is Flying Turns, possibly the most unique coaster at this park. This is the world's only wooden bobsled coaster. Now, this sort of model used to be popular back in the day, but this is the only one operating in the world right now. The park actually built this whole ride in-house. Designed it. They went through a lot of issues getting this thing up and running. Actually, from the point they started construction to the time it opened took 7 years. So it did finally open back in 2013. So we are going to hop into the POV here. There's quite a few like steel bobsled coasters out there, but this is the only one. The whole structure and tubes here are made from wooden supports. So you start off this coaster. This is kind of just like a little meandering around here. It kind of just gets it going for you, but once you go up the second lift hill is when, the real ride kind of begins. So coming up here, we are going to hit a max height of 50 feet and top speed of 24 miles an hour. So definitely through here, you are being whipped up onto this tubular track here. Definitely some good lateral forces here. It's quite a fun ride, definitely a unique bucket list coaster to get on. But it is pretty fun going through these inversions here. This ride is also quite unique in the way they load the trains. You actually have to get weighed on a scale. I believe it's 400 pounds per little car on the train. So quite a unique ride system. Again, it was all built in-house, and yeah, definitely a bucket list coaster for sure. Coming in at number 3 is the park's newest addition, Impulse. It opened in 2015 and was made by Zierer, not Gerstlauer like most of these coasters are. This is one of, I believe, only 2 of these type of models that Zierer has made. Coaster features 4 inversions, a max height of 98 feet and top speed of 55 miles an hour. So jumping into the POV here, we're going to make our way around this little turn and up into the lift hill. Really like how this coaster's right at the front of the park, sports their colors, the blue and the yellow. Really stands out from the parking lot and kind of gets you excited for the day. The whole park is kind of buried in the woods, so this coaster definitely stands out among the trees. Going up into this vertical lift hill, really like this element. I like these elements on all the other Gerstlauer Eurofighters. Coming off the top of the hill here, we are going straight down a vertical drop and right into this massive cobra roll. The whole ride does seem a little forceless to me, and that's why it's not ranked higher. Coming through here, we do go through a nice little loop, a little bit of hang time there, and into this big turnaround here, and then we were coming down through a helix going right around the lift hill, which I do think is pretty fun, and through this inline twist. Definitely get some hang time there, and right at the bottom of this helix is pretty intense too. But overall, not the most intense coaster. I would say this is a good introductory looping coaster, but not one to write home about. At my number 2 spot is Twister. This is the park's tallest coaster and also the longest coaster. It was also designed completely in-house, but it was based off of another coaster that previously operated called Mr. Twister. It was operating in Etlich Gardens in Colorado. But similar layout. They took a lot of inspiration from that coaster, but it was completely designed and built in-house. Opened in 1999, has a top height of 102 feet with a max speed of 52 miles an hour. Nice long ride, really enjoyed this one, but does get a little overshadowed by our number 1 spot, which will be coming up shortly. But let's get into the POV here and I will take you guys through it. So coming out of the station here, just a general meandering around here to get to the lift hill. I do like how this coaster is sort of nestled back in the woods in the back of the park. So coming up this first lift hill, it's actually only half of the lift. Once you come off of this chain, we're going to make a slight turn to the left and a turn to the right and go up the second half of the lift hill. Pretty interesting how these lift hills are kind of stacked on top of each other. Does add to the uniqueness factor. Pretty good views from the top here. Sort of doing a little turnaround here to get to the first drop. So coming up here, do get a nice forceful first drop here with just a slight bank to the right and up into another little turnaround here. Like I said, really like the theme of this sort of being back in the woods. Coming down here, kind of make a turn to the left and then into this huge double helix here. Kind of reminds me of like the Beast at Kings Island. Really like these elements. Of course there aren't tunnels like the Beast, but pretty forceful, good laterals. Coming into a little hill here and then turn around under the support structure here. You do get some nice forces here, not like crazy airtime or anything. There is a tunnel that actually goes under one of the roads here, which I do like, and then just a small little dip and into the brake run. Overall, pretty fun coaster. Definitely would be the number one if our number one that's coming up didn't have so much hype. So coming in at number one is the Phoenix. This is the park's iconic, classic wooden coaster. Probably the only reason that you would come to this park because everyone talks about it so much. This park has won the Golden Ticket Award for the best wooden coaster in the world for the past 2 years now. I do think it's a little overhyped, but it is a very good ride, very fun ride. I wouldn't say it deserves those 2 golden tickets. I don't think a lot of people do, but it is a coaster with a lot of history. It opened originally back in 1948 at a park in Texas as the Rocket, and it was relocated to Knoebels in 1985. Actually cost $1.5 million to relocate and used 34 trucks that drove from Texas to Pennsylvania to transport all of the wood from this coaster. So going through the POV here, you do go through that nice pitch black tunnel and into the lift hill. Coming over the lift of a height of 78 feet, go into the first drop, reaching speeds of 45 miles an hour. And then we come back up this hill and do a nice little turnaround and get a nice view of the surrounding woodland area. Coming down this hill, we are going to go into a few bunny hills here. Nothing too crazy, but I forgot to mention earlier, the main reason this coaster is loved so much is because it features those classic buzz bars. You get a ton of airtime. There are no seat belts. So coming up through here is a double up and double down. You do get some nice airtime coming off of some of those, just depending on what seat you were sitting in. Coming around this final turn here and into 4 consecutive airtime hills. You are absolutely flying over these hills here. Get some crazy ejector airtime. Nothing that intense, but without a seatbelt, it is pretty crazy, and that is why this ride is loved so much. Well, that'll wrap up my video on the coasters of Knoebel. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you haven't seen my first Coasters Of video, definitely check that out on Kennywood below. More videos like this to come soon. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your feedback and follow along on Instagram /TopThrillTyler for updates. I share photos from my trips, and I will see you guys next time.